So there was this girl who had asked me out 4 times and had over 500 photos of me on her phone, and she just wouldn't leave me alone no matter how many times I told her that I'm fucking anime sex! Man, it really is so hard being so handsome. Anyways, so one day I was just sitting there in my billion-dollar mansion, admiring Nekopara, when I started to hear sounds coming from a front door. So I went to my ultra-high-tech security room with over 500 monitors in it, and looked over to one that watches the front door. And there she was, standing at the front door. I decided to ignore and move on with my life, and then went back to appreciating the work of art that is Nekopara. And it was all fun and games until I heard her bashing my fucking door down. Now that's when I knew I was in danger, so I ran over to my bunker, took 3 1-liter bottles of water and drank them in an instant. I then sprinted over to the front door and opened it. I stared right in her eyes, before unzipping my pants and shouting, "Fire in the hole!" I then proceeded to spew piss all over her, and when she ran away, I chased after her. All throughout the city we ran, my ever-present trickle of piss right behind her. But she didn't know what I was actually doing. I was charging up my secret abilities. And then I shouted, "Birds, go!" And my piss turned into a giant sentient piss monster! Anyway, what does that story have to do with the rest of the video? Well, you may have recalled me having said that I am of anime sexuality, and as you may have guessed, that is a part of the LGBTZ+I community, and all my characters in my games are gender neutral. Except for ones that aren't, but who gives a shit about those guys? Anyway, on a significantly less serious note than anything I've discussed before, I've been making games for 7 years, and that's not even the most impressive part. I mean, I've been making games for 7 years, and I don't like kids, yes, but apart from that, I've developed a wide portfolio of games that I'm really proud of. But the thing is, I wasn't able to make games for a long ass time. The first actual game I ever made that had actual gameplay was Late Night Peak, and just, oh man, this game brings tears to my eyes. The gameplay, the art, the music, oh, it's pretty good actually, just kidding, it's Now this game was submitted for a game jam, and basically all the comments were like, "Oh, yeah, great game!" It's like moms hanging up their 3-year-old shitty-ass drawings from the fridge. But I mean, this wasn't my first actual game. The first game I ever made was called 2-Player Prison Escape, and unfortunately, I won't be able to collect my Game of the Year award for this one because, well, never got one because it's When people ask me what I started out using, I'll try to tiptoe around it as much as I humanly can. I'll say stuff like, "Oh, yeah, it's like a visual scripting kind of thing, you know? You feel me? You get my vibe? You catch my drift?" The fact that I started out with Scratch isn't the thing I'm worried about anyone finding out. Rather, I'm more concerned with them finding my accounts, because, dude, you do not understand. I cannot have anyone finding out about Scary Red Ball or Black Hole Clicker. Oh, shit! Now, after I made Late Night Peak, I was hanging with the boys. Well, boy. And he was absolutely enamored by Late Night Peak. And then we made Flying Poultry, and the rest is history. In all seriousness, Flying Poultry is essentially just a more fast-paced multiplayer version of Flappy Bird, and was a comically large step up in quality from Late Night Peak. This was when I actually began to take game development more seriously and started learning game design. Even though Flying Poultry is very repetitive and gets old fast, it is extremely fun for about 5 minutes, not to mention the music goes so hard. After Flying Poultry, I began to make tons of small arcade games, the first being Square Massacre. In Square Massacre, you basically have this little square in the middle of the screen that you have to defend. You kill enemies by tapping on them, and there's 3 enemy types. The orange square, which has no special properties, the purple square, which is just the orange square but faster, and the pink square, who dies when it touches the square in the middle and provides 20 points upon such. Killing it results in a loss of 20 points. The game is simple but relatively fun. I like it a good amount. With this game, I really learned how to properly take feedback and alter a game around such. After Square Massacre was Pitfall, which is essentially Downwell if it wasn't as good. It's extremely simple, you're falling down a piss and you have to avoid obstacles coming your way. And you get points by moving and collecting these arrow things. The game is fine, it's fun for a bit, but apart from that it doesn't offer much. After Pitfall was More Suffering, which is kind of like if Angry Birds was a rage platformer. You hit this square around and you have to try to get it to the top. This game has a soundtrack I'm still proud of to this day, and overall I have some quite fond memories of this game for one main reason. About a year after I published it, when I was in quite a good place in my life, all my friends suddenly started hopping on it and getting really into it, competing for the best times and such. And so I updated the game, adding a leaderboard, and bro, no joke, they were on it at every single fucking possible moment. One of my friends got like 11 seconds, bro did not have a life outside of More Suffering. And then I added multiplayer, and well, you can see the footage. My friends even created like More Suffering slang, bro. I joined their BC one day and we were playing More Suffering and talking fucking gibberish, bro. Anyway, after more suffering, I began an absolutely monumental project, and I will probably eat a child before I say this game is in development hell. This game has changed so much, and my skills have improved so dramatically since I started working it, and there is so much shit in this game now I don't even know where to begin. This game is 7 Days to Escape. Now, 7 Days to Escape was originally meant to be a stalker-inspired horror game with a heavy focus on inventory management. But I was such a shitty developer when I started this project, and, well, everything just kinda kept changing. For one, I had no game design document. I was just adding whatever I wanted without any regard for the game design, and literally, only in the last update, where I essentially fixed the whole game, was the game only made fun. Not to mention that now the game is just filled to the brim with complex systems that don't really matter. Also, throughout almost the entire time I've been developing this game, which is almost 3 years now by the way, I just constantly put off working on the stuff that needed to be done so that I could instead work on fucking jerking off. It was 2 years ago that I said I would add in combat. Combat was introduced in the most recent fucking update. I also promised that I would add multiplayer in alpha, but like, why would I do that? There's no point in being able to experience a shitty game with friends. Like, would you rather be lobotomized or lobotomized with your buddy Tom? Anyway, quickfire round. Elite Tactical Postman Simulator. Sort of boring, but kinda cool, I guess. Light on Grass, actually pretty fun, very entertaining and funny, but dead hard. The other thing, what is this? Down in the Back Room is great if you like walking. Camp Out so bad I took it down. Squared Off, one of my best games, really fun. And now, on to... I think you can kind of divide my game dev's career into 3 eras, the arcade era, the improvement era, and the modern era. Games from the modern era are all amazing. They are defined by very unique and striking art, a jazz soundtrack, and usually a heavy focus on narrative. And Tell Me Everything was the beginning of this era. Tell Me Everything has a stellar soundtrack and art that I'm really proud of, not to mention the humor and dialogue, which adds a lot to the game. But as happy as I am with everything the game does, the gameplay is genuine ass. It is legit just clicking on whatever the game tells you to click. How did I think this would be fun? Despite all that, this game does sort of have a bit of a soft spot in my heart. After Tell Me Everything came a game that really was my magnum opus and one that I'm extremely proud of. That game is... Kishimoto-kun was originally inspired by a dream I had. Originally, the game was going to follow the protagonist and a transfer student with whom we could not communicate with, who at the end of every week got transported into a secret 8th day of the week where they can talk to each other. Of course, that's essentially what the game ended up being about, but ignore that. As much as I don't want to sound arrogant here, Kishimoto-kun is sort of a one-of-a-kind game. It has flaws, of course, but the characters are clearly very special to all the people who've completed the game. It's definitely an extremely memorable story with a message I'm really happy with that essentially clocks down to, we all have good lives, we just have to realize it. The game follows, you'll never guess, an extremely cynical and sarcastic high school student whose only friend is a school dumbass, Fujinami. One day he befriends a recent American transfer student, Casey, who cannot speak Japanese, and it certainly doesn't help that Kishimoto can't speak English. From there it follows for free as they interact and discover the secret 8th day of the week, while Kishimoto develops away from his cynicism. Even though there's a lot of issues with the plot progression, as I previously stated, the characters are the star of the show. All people who've played the game and talk to me still talk about the characters. People have told me that the Kishimoto-kun cast really feels like friends, and it really feels like you're in their group. Watching YouTubers play it, at the very end, they lean back and say, that was a good game. And then to top it off, there's the soundtrack, which I do really encourage you to listen to if you're on the fence about playing it. But after I released Kishimoto-kun, I had a game jam, and that's when I made... Barbarians is like Rust x Fortnite. 8 players start out on their own islands with their own machine. One machine generates 1 piece of food per minute, another generates 1 piece of water per minute, and the other allows you to upgrade the amount of damage your bow does. You can use wood gathered by chopping trees or fish egg to upgrade these machines to either give you more resources or better stats. From there you have to explore out and find new islands and players. Death results in getting kicked from a match. Barbarians is super fun if you can get a few friends together, and I definitely recommend it. Now, next game was also made for a game jam. One is really the only modern era game that I think you shouldn't really play. It's an Uno roguelike with a heavy narrative focus, and while the gameplay is fun, the music is great, and the art's nice, the story is really bad. It's only 90 minutes long, and I try to cram in as much as I can in it, and it ends up feeling really rushed. A lot of people weren't bothered to read the story either, and gave it a low rating because of how much dialogue there was. One is just kinda there. I mean, play it if you want, but it's not gonna change your life or anything. Now, onto our final game. With Teach Me Everything, I actually want you to set your expectations as high as you can. It's like Persona X Hitman with a character-driven, Steins Gate-inspired story, and it's 100% the best thing I've ever made. Playtesting shows that the game is clearly super fun, and the art is something I'm really proud of, the soundtrack's my best yet, and the story, bro. I know I'm sounding arrogant as shit here, but seriously, I'm so proud of the story, bro. It's actually so good. So yeah, set your expectations high. Anyway, all my games can be downloaded for free from a link in the description. Don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you all next time.